Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of my live tea tasting. I've got an exciting blend for you guys tonight, so let's get this started. Continuing in the Cholula's month, we are going with one of my personal favorites. I've never had their blend before, but from what I hear, it's excellent. We're doing some masala chai tonight, and let me tell you guys, this has been one of my favorites from like the very beginning of all the teas that I've started with. So this is a blend after. Hey gamer, welcome. This is a blend after the traditional Indian masala chai tea. So we're gonna have black tea and cardamom. Those are the classic ingredients. Sometimes ginger root, which is in here, cloves, natural cinnamon flavor, and cinnamon bark, all included into one of these blends. And let me tell you, this always, it's hard to mess up because like just the blends of it, the teas, everything is just so delicious when it's put together. Hey Sneha, welcome. Hey Teresa, welcome. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my first sip because right now my nose is, it just smells like masala chai and I am loving it. Ooh, that smells so spicy. Let's do this. Ooh, that's really nice. There's a good spice in there. Now traditionally, you want to have it nice and spicy because when masala chai is made traditionally, it's usually you either add milk or it's steeped in milk. So you're gonna want something in there that's strong enough to stand out, the strong enough flavor to stand out versus having to search for that flavor and it comes out too mellow. So you get like a good amount of the spices from the cardamom, from the cinnamon, from the cloves, and it gives it a good kick right there when it's done right. So you have to add a lot of spices to it, but when it blends, it's incredible. And this one is it tastes very, very traditional. Now I love the way that it just coats the tongue. Masala chai in general tends to burn long, so you taste the spices for a while going in. It tends to settle right on your palate, and as you breathe, you continue tasting the flavor as well. I'm talking, but the flavor isn't going anywhere. Now, generally, I don't like to add any sweeteners or any milk to my teas, but when I do, it's to a masala chai because the masala chais, they enhance the flavor. Now I love masala chai on its own, but it's the kind of tea that you're rewarded for putting in the extra effort, you know. So I want to talk a little bit about the liqueur. Now I don't know if you can see it very well from here, but like from my end, it's very, very murky. That means that it's heavy on the spice. So generally, it's not just a leaf that's in here. We're looking at the powder from the cinnamon, the residue from the cloves, all those extra spices. They tend to crowd in the liqueur and makes it kind of thick. So it's got like you can see a general impression of my hand, but there is like it's a little bit blurry. It's not as clear as you would normally see it through something like even some black teas, but oolongs and white teas, especially white teas that usually come out clear yellow. You're not going to see that as a very. It's not clear. It's going to be murky. Now, normally that's not an indicator of quality because a lot of teas can have murk in it. They can have murk in it, but it's kind of hard to associate that if it's just the leaf. You know, a lot of the tea leaves, how they're processed, they tend to powder quite a bit, and that powder does leak into the water, especially if you're dealing with a small cut leaf. Now, as you guys may know, there are about 5 or 6 sizes within a grade of tea. It goes from what's known as orange pekoe (OP), and then goes to lower and lower. It just becomes broken orange pekoe. Sorry. So they usually just give us the indications through the initials BOP or BOP. So broken orange pekoe usually has powder in it because you're dealing with the smaller leaves that have not sifted all the way to the bottom. Now, it does tend to catch a lot of the powder off the tea, but you're not going to get it all. As the top layer of the Ralph, welcome. As the top layer is going to catch only the biggest leaves, everything else is going to sift lower and lower. So you're going to have basically no powder at the top, slight powder at the second level, which is like the medium size leaves. Then you're going to have a little bit more, like a medium amount of powder on the next level, a little bit more on the next on the bottom level, and then at the very, very bottom, you're going to have all powder. So as it reaches down, you're going to want to you're basically going to see the size of the leaf without looking at it. That helps me just transition. So if you take a look at this, take a look at the leaves. Everything is like nice and beautiful and brown. It looks like fall. I love drinking masala chai in the fall because it brings all those spices together. It's excellent. But you're gonna see, if I can grab one single leaf with my sausage fingers, it's not gonna go very well. I'm hoping this is a leaf. Yes. Oh, I almost dropped it. So you can see right off the bat, it's a small cut leaf. It does not look like it's CTC. It just looks like it's a little bit curly. But CTC does stand for cut tear curl, which is traditionally done in different parts of India as a production thing. Production level. I don't know. Production step. I don't know. But you can see that this is a short leaf, and when you brew it, there's not much of a difference because you're already dealing with a small leaf. It's not going to open up a whole lot. It will open up because the leaves are dried. These are a lot easier to pick up than the dry ones. Hey Jess, welcome. So in comparison, you'll see right off the bat, we're dealing with an open version of the little tiny one that you saw just a couple seconds ago. They open up in the hot water, and this is what releases the flavor. You can see it's a very, very dark leaf, indicating that it's been highly oxidized. And I can't tell where this was sourced from, just by the color and the shape, because a large portion of India, they do CTC and other kinds of blends, depending on where the leaf is going to end up. So in masala chai, traditionally, you're going to have the shorter leaves. In Assam especially, they do CTC, but it looks like little pellets. Very different, but I wouldn't be able to show you on camera because it's very, very slight. You know, it's hard for the cameras to pick up. You wouldn't be able to see it very well. but the CTC is very tiny, like little balls, basically, little tiny balls. Insert your own jokes there. I'll give you a moment. But anyway, I just love the aroma that this gives. Now, generally, I drink masala chai later on in the year, because like you have the spices, and it just kind of warms you from the inside. But traditionally, in India, they drink masala chai all year round, and that's because there's a theory, and I kind of sort of get it, that the more you drink spice, the more you sweat. The more you sweat, the more it cools off the body. And yeah, I get it, but I just prefer drinking like cold stuff to keep me cooler. I mean, like it just seems like a roundabout way to get cooled off, but it works. You know what I mean? Like, it's science. It's scientific. Terrible. I'm gonna slurp now. I love that there's a slight mouthfeel too. I didn't really talk. It's terrible. No. Okay. Anyway, there's a slight mouthfeel. Generally, you don't get a big mouthfeel from the tea itself, but because it's got so many spices going on, the powder just kind of like settles itself. How hot does everyone drink their tea? Well, I mean, it depends. Generally, you steep it, a black tea, for 212 degrees. This is what I did tonight's blend on. But I don't recommend it as a general catch-all because it also depends on the leaf. So when you're dealing with like a bigger leaf, I would tend to go more towards 200 to 205 because the bigger the leaf, the less concentrated the flavor, so it's going to burn. Oh no, wait, sorry. No, sorry. It's the smaller the leaf burns quickly because there's less surface area. Sorry, I had to I had to visualize everything. But yeah, like for the 212 is fine for this because it's a small leaf, but it's got so much spices on it. The spices tend to cover a lot of sin. So if you oversteep the leaf, the spices will make up for it. Now, if this was just a plain black tea, like if we were talking about just an Assam, you can't hide it without adding sugar or milk or cream or whatever. And so you have to know what you're doing before you steep. Otherwise, you can ruin your whole cup. So as I was saying, like there's a very slight mouthfeel, slight grainy. There's no, it kind of coats the tongue, and it's not as grainy as a rooibos. Rooibos is, I don't know if that's how that's how the plural is. But if you drink a rooibos tea, it tends to have like a kind of a thicker, grainier flavor. This one kind of just coats the tongue, and it's all spice. Like I don't taste the black tea in it as much because everything is like super powerful. You have the cloves, the cardamom, the ginger, anything that makes your throat just kick right there. That's what's in it. This one isn't as overpowering. I've had some really, really hot, spicy teas that, one sip and you start coughing. This one is very mild in comparison, but it's very smooth going down. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And I was a little bit nervous because I believe I've done a masala chai before, but I realized that every brand has its own mixture. A lot of people put extra ginger. A lot of people put extra cardamom. A lot of people put so much cinnamon that you're like, you taste it, and it's just like that's all you taste. But this one has a nice, healthy mixture of everything, so that nothing is overpowering, like I'm tasting pretty much all of it at the same time. It's hard to pick out one ingredient over the other. The cinnamon tends to stand out quite a bit, but that's just like an overall bed on which the other spices just tend to lay on. So I am getting some of the ginger, but it's not super powerful because I have yet to feel anything back here. When I swallow, it's all one smooth gulp, and I'm not getting that whole kickback, you know. So this is kind of why I like comparing and contrasting. I've had some masala chais that just like one sip and it's just I'm gonna need a minute kind of a deal. This is nice and smooth, so if you don't have a high spice tolerance, I would recommend this kind of blend. Or if you're looking to raise your tolerance, then you can start with this and work your way up. So this is a good blend just in general for people to enjoy, because it captures the flavor without the overpowering cough, basically. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the Thomas taste. This is my favorite part because you really get to discover that which I don't normally do while I'm talking. So here we go. Now that was interesting. I was not expecting that. I had kind of a moment where the tea tasted like apple juice. And I think because it's cooled down a bit, some of the ingredients are hitting me a little bit harder, like the cinnamon. You know, like you get the apple cinnamon kind of flavor in there. Normally, as I was drinking fast, I had just the cinnamon. But as I held it in my mouth and I like looked for the flavors, the blend itself kind of showed me an apple juice tone. And it's interesting. I can't even call it because like there's a little bit of thickness. It's more on the side of apple cider. And I think that if I were to ice this would be an excellent tea to just, I mean, like it kind of defeats the purpose if you're drinking a hot iced tea. It's, I don't know, it makes sense to me. But I like masala chais as they're iced, usually with cold milk in it. Can't go wrong. But yeah, like this is the kind of blend that I would drink all year round. Mostly though, during like the summer, iced with milk. Oh yeah, this will do it. And I love the way, like right now, like I drink, and I feel it going down my chest. Those are all the spices. Those are all of the temperature is already a little bit lower than when I first started, so it's not going to burn my tongue anymore. From this point on, everything that I feel burning is all spice. And I love the way that, it kind of burns, because it's not going to give me that coughing moment. If it hasn't done it by now, it's just not going to. While I love that coughing moment, that's just my personal preference. Anything that makes me cough means like it's some good stuff. But this one doesn't have that. It's nice and mild, and it's relaxing in a way because while it is caffeinated, it's a black tea, so yeah, you're gonna have some caffeine. It's the kind of caffeine that makes you more alert rather than jittery, and it normally doesn't keep me up. I have a high caffeine tolerance, but I don't see it really keeping anybody up for very long, unless you're extremely sensitive, which does happen. Oh, I love this stuff. Okay. questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now's the time. I'm going to answer the Teresa question, which she asks every single time. What would I pair this with? And I always have a challenge when it comes to masala chais because we're dealing with a level of spice, but on top of that, this can go between an entree, because it is strong enough for an entree, but it's also sweet and spiced enough for a dessert. And that always poses a bit of a query. Where would I take it from there? So I think I'll do both, because why not? Excuse me. That wasn't spice, that was choke. But anyway, so I'll start with dessert, because dessert is already popping a bunch of ideas in my head. Because I have the cinnamon and the spice, I'm leaning more towards like a coffee cake or an ice cream. Like I had fried ice cream that really tasted kind of similar to this, a lot of cinnamon, so this would go pretty well with that. Apple pie, of course. You can't go wrong with apple pie. Let me see, one more, ginger snaps. I would do the ginger snaps because you have that kind of the ginger in it, and the gingerbread also. What aspiration tea happens to me all the time? Great tasting, Mike. I'm glad to say, because this is still, we're dealing with one of yours, the masala chai. But yeah, it's something that really I enjoy tasting and thinking at the same time, and it's something that I encourage everybody to do at least once in a while, even if you're just a casual tea drinker. It's good to try to figure out why you like things, and if you do, you can search out different veins of your preferences. So I always encourage people to take a moment as they sip or slurp, in this case, to see what it is they like, and then explore other avenues, and then add more to your repertoire. So going to an entree. This is a kind of heavy flavor, and to me personally, it's got like this kind of Thanksgiving vibe. It's usually categorized in the U.S. as a fall tea, even though you can drink it all year round, which I do. It's a delicious blend. But like, there's just this kind of fall feeling that I get. So I would equate this blend with like a Thanksgiving feast. You have like the turkey, the sweet potato pie, which I still don't know if that's a dessert or an entree or a side dish. The cranberries, I'm not a turkey eater, but turkey and ham. I mean, yeah, I'm a pain in the butt for Thanksgiving, but for things like that, I would associate that kind of a meal with this kind of tea. So anything that you would eat during Thanksgiving, or you just happen to be eating leftovers 2 weeks later, I say that this would pair very well with that kind of a palate. Okay. Meantime, questions, comments, anything you want to talk about, now is the time. I'm opening up the floor. I don't have any announcements. Oh, no, I do have an announcement. Yeah. Okay, I might as well bring it up now. In about 2 weeks, let me just check. It's going to be May 4th. It's a Tuesday. I'm going to be doing a presentation. It's going to be a tea and chocolate pairing presentation for Gilda's Club. They are an incredible organization. They do a lot of cancer support. They help anybody who has been affected by cancer, whether they've been a patient or they've been had a family member that was diagnosed, if they knew anybody that had passed away from cancer. They provide a lot of support. They provide activities. They provide a good base where you can get involved with other people who have been affected by cancer, and like the staff and the mission. I love them all. They're just incredible people. So they are putting on a Mother's Day tea party, I want to say. It's not officially a tea party, but I'm going to be hosting the tea and chocolate pairing. So if you would like to sign up, you can go to www.gildasclubchicago.org. Check out their calendar link, and it'll be on May 4th. I think it's sometime in the afternoon, but if you have the time, definitely check them out and show them some love, because they are just wonderful people, and I've been volunteering with them for a few years now, and I love them to death. So that being said, I'm going to put the link in the comments. Link in the description. And if you want to sign up, they will be sending you the tea. You supply your own chocolate, and we'll take it from there. Hopefully, I'll see some of my favorite faces there. It'll either be I'll be doing it live. I'm hoping to do it live, but if I can't make it because it's a Tuesday afternoon, I'll be doing a recording. So either way, I encourage you guys, definitely get involved, because they are they're just wonderful. Yeah, I think that's my only announcement for right now. I'm thinking, that's pretty much it. So, go for another sip. That was kind of a weak sip. It felt like you guys barely heard it. So let's do that again. There we go. That was a nice big old slurp. And I love how, even though it's cooling, it's maintaining that same flavor profile. A lot of teas can't do that. I have tasted some teas that, as it gets cooler, they get bitter, and they develop like a kind of soapy flavor. This one is not doing that at all. Again, it's got so many spices in there, it's hard to find out. But because I know that Tea sources their teas from really quality places, I'm going to say the leaf has everything to do with that. They don't deal in cheap leaves, which I thoroughly appreciate. It's all about quality, and you're not going to find that kind of standard just anywhere. So that's why all my friends at Tea, they have my total support, and I thoroughly enjoy reviewing their teas on the occasions that I do. I don't do it enough, but I'm gonna start. Now that I am in the market for a new tea shop, hint hint, I think that I'll be shopping there more often. Now I don't know if you guys can see, probably not, but it looks like some of the sediment has settled. There's a small gathering of the spices at the bottom, so I can tell that last sip, it's gonna have a kick. Because that's what happens when you're dealing with tea that sits there for a while. The sediment kind of goes to the bottom. Now there's not a whole lot, which to their credit means everything is really, really fine ground. So it's not heavy enough to actually, a lot of it isn't heavy enough to actually hit the bottom. But there is a little bit, because you're not going to get a totally perfect blend no matter what you do. unless it comes out powdered, in which case that's just really bad. Powdered tea, don't try. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. This has been a wonderful experience. I'm going to put up the link after we wrap up here, so definitely follow up. If you have any questions or comments or anything, feel free to put them in the chat, or just post them in the group. Until next time, have a great night, a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.